Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of The Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys checking today's video out. And guys, today we're going to be talking about finesse A-rigs. As far as these downsized A-rigs are a little bit smaller like this. We actually have not talked about Alabama rigs much on The Fishing Teacher, but this is one we're going to talk about today because this is a really easy way to catch fish. Really probably in the months of November, December, January, February, and March coming up. So we're going to get into that. And also guys, I will put my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of this video for some A-rigs. If you guys want to try some of the smaller ones there, I'll put that link in the description. So that's a good way to help the channel out too. Okay guys, the main thing about the difference on a small finesse A-rig like this, it's about twice as small as a regular Alabama rig. And they're designed to fish the smaller swim baits. These are little 2.4 inch Kitech swim baits on here, little 1/8 ounce Megabass Okashira heads. So it's a downsized bait and you just get a lot more bites on it, especially in clear water situations where you have a mixed species of lake. So if you guys fish a lake that has, both spotted bass and a largemouth or maybe smallmouth in it, it's a really good way to catch them under those conditions. Now, it's pretty simple to fish. I mean, a lot of guys use A-rigs with live scope, but I'll tell you guys a way you can catch them on it where you don't have to have live scope on it at all. This time of year. The thing about that is there's two different type of areas that you need to look for the A-rigs in the wintertime. One is main lake and secondary points, which is pretty obvious. I like to get out there, on points that have any water visibility of like over 3 feet, 3 feet to 10 foot visibility, and just get out there in that 5 to 20 foot range and just fan cast that A-rig all around the areas out there. Normally what I'll do is I'll start out, like I'll put my boat in 15 to 20 foot of water and I'll try to cast where I can almost hit the bank. And then I'll just start slow rolling it all the way back to the boat. And if I'm catching some fish there, I can duplicate that pattern. If not, I may move out a little bit deeper and try to target suspended fish on those same points. But points are hard to beat, in the wintertime. There's just a lot of fish live on points and use points, and this little finessed A-rig is a good way to catch them with that. Now, the other way that I catch a lot of fish in there is basically going back into the major creek arms. Every lake on the country has got major creek arms, and start fishing the steeper banks in those creek arms. Now, they can be anywhere between the mouth of the creek to halfway back to all the way back in there, but get on those steeper banks. They can be bluffs, they can be 45-degree angle banks, any bank in those creek arms where the creek channel gets fairly close to the bank. And basically just get your boat at a 45-degree angle and just cast to the bank, just like you were fishing a spinnerbait or a crankbait. And don't think of it as anything except just a moving bait. Just pretend like you have a spinnerbait or a crankbait on, throw it to the bank and just sort of slow crank it, down the drop there a little bit. Most of the time, you want to try to keep that bait, within a couple feet of the bottom. It seems like it works a little bit better. And another thing about that, if you guys get a day in the wintertime when the water temperatures are over 50 degrees and you have a pretty windy day, you can take these downsized A-rigs and you can just get on the windy banks just the same way you would with any other moving bait and fish it shallow. Try to fish it in less than 40 foot of water, throw it to the bank and just start reeling it out. It's a really good way to catch them like that. Now, for me, if you gave me like the number one type of area, what I wanted to look for to catch fish on an A-rig, this is what it would be. I would go back into a major creek arm and I would get on one of those steep banks, and I'd get on a steep bank that I was coming up on a point. So pull up like maybe 50 to 100 yards. Say if you see a point up in front of you, pull up on those steeper banks like 50 to 100 yards before you get to that point and start working slow and methodically down that bank until you get to that point. Those are high percentage areas. The 50 to 100 yards before or after you get past a point, as well as the point, is a good way to catch them with that. So anyway, guys, just try it. I normally put these on like a 7.5 foot, medium heavy rod, usually 15 to 17 pound test Seaguar and Vizex line. And it's a good way to catch them. A-rig is not my favorite bait. It's fun to fish, but one of the reasons I don't fish them much is some of the tournaments you can't use them, and I don't like to use them even in tournaments. But as far as just going out and fun fishing, that's a really good way to catch them. Also, another good way to catch them this time of year is fishing under the bridges. If you guys have bridges with bridge piers on it, a lot of times those fish will suspend under those bridge piers. Anywhere between 10 to 15 foot down, you can catch them like that. So hope it helps out, guys. We'll talk later.